versus love. Lust versus love. I'm going to share with you the truth about lasting connections. So, what really builds real relationships? Let that sink in. Are they built on love or are they built on lust? Let me inform you all that lust is not the enemy, but it is not love either. I've learned both through my own life and watching the stories of others unfold that confusing lust for love can lead us into relationships that feel super electric. But guess what? They burn out real fast. So today, I want to talk about the difference between lust and love and why understanding that difference can change everything. It can change your relationships, your choices, and even your sense of self-worth. Lust is the craving for a body. Love is the craving for a soul. Love is like a friendship caught on fire. And love is the magician that pulls man out of his own hat. We start with a question. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant spark? Put the letter S in the chat. I'm talking about the heart racing kind of feeling, and you can't think straight kind of energy. The butterflies in your stomach. Back in the day, it was the late night phone calls. Y'all know what I mean. Things have changed, and in the 21st century, we have the late night text messages. Put a M in the chat if you're guilty of that. The songs that you listen to repeatedly that reminds you about how they made you feel. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to bust your bubble, but that, my friend, is lust. So what is lust? Let's be honest. Lust is exciting. It's desire on fire. It's dopamine, adrenaline, oxytocin. Lust, ladies and gentlemen, is our brain throwing a party. Lust focuses on fantasy, not on foundation of the relationship. Lust is driven by the chase. And here's the tricky part, y'all. Lust often shows up disguised, looking like love. Ladies and gentlemen, lust whispers sweet nothings. Lust will tell you that this is it, or that this is the one. Lust will tell you that you finally found your soulmate. Lust is built on an illusion, and lust is the chemistry that is screaming for more. Ladies and gentlemen, although chemistry can spark an attraction, it cannot sustain a true connection. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, that is the trap of lust. Lust is addictive and it thrives on hope. Lust is an emotional high and it is only temporary. So where did the magic go? Lust thrives on what's possible, not on what's proven. Lust wants more of the feeling, not necessarily more of the person. And unfortunately, some people build entire relationships on that one spark alone until they wake up one day next to someone they barely even know, wondering, where in the world did the magic go? What is love? So now let's talk about love. Not the fairy tale version, not the Hollywood drama. I mean real grounded, powerful love. Love is not just a feeling. Love is a commitment that involves trust and growth. Love is a daily choice, not just a feeling. Love sees the real you, and love sticks and stays. Love brings peace, not panic. Love sees you when you're sick, grumpy, broke, bad breath and all. Love still says, I am not going anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, love is not always sexy or cinematic. But I can guarantee you one thing, and that is that if it is true love, then you are in a safe place. Love keeps promises. Love deepens and grows long after the butterflies have settled. That's huge, ladies and gentlemen. So, why do we confuse the two? Well, I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, one reason is because we live in a culture that glorifies instant gratification. We're trained to believe that if someone makes our heart race, they might just be the one. Moving fast, ladies and gentlemen, is not proof of substance. Let's be real. We accept lust because it helps us to avoid the vulnerability that the love reveals. Lust gives you dopamine hits, and love requires emotional nakedness, and that's not just in the physical. Love says, let me show you the parts I usually hide. And lust says, let me dazzle you with my highlight reel. Ladies and gentlemen, real growth begins when we stay because it's real, not because it feels good. That's where love is tested and our character is revealed. What lasting connections take? So, my question then is, how do we move from lust to love? Let me offer you three quick shifts. Number one, curiosity over chemistry. Ask yourself, do I know this person? Or do I just like how they make me feel? Get curious about their values. Number two, time always reveals truth. Lust speaks quickly, but love unfolds slowly. Wait long enough to see who someone becomes after the infatuation has faded. Number three, choose growth over gratification. Love will stretch you. It will confront your ego, but it will also heal you in ways that lust never could. And ladies and gentlemen, this applies to all relationships, romantic, platonic, and even the love that we have for ourselves. Lust versus covetousness. Lust and covetousness are both powerful desires that, while different in focus, share a common spiritual root. They both reflect a longing for something or someone that is not rightfully yours. I wanted to bring this into the business realm and show you how the word lust correlates with the word covetousness in business. Both behaviors are often driven by selfishness, lack of contentment, and a misalignment with God's will. And that's important. This chart shows you how those two words correlate in the personal life as well as in the business arena. Lust is an intense craving for sexual gratification, often outside the bounds of God's divine. Covetousness is a greedy desire for possession, status, or relationships that belongs to someone else. Lust is primarily physical or emotional. Covetousness is primarily material or relational. Lust centers on using someone for pleasure, and on the other hand, covetousness centers on wanting what others have, often leading to jealousy. And I thought that was so important to bring this together in the spiritual realm as well as in our business arena and in our personal life. Words are powerful. And if we want to receive all of the blessings and the good thing that God has in store for each and every one of us, we must monitor our behaviors. Because when we think that they're not showing and they're not sticking out, I have news for you. It shows. It shows. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me to share. And I hope that I've said something to inspire you and educate you so that you can move forward on this life's journey. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, let's stop chasing sparks and start building fires that will last a lifetime. And give it up, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up. Give it up. I'm taking mine. I'm taking mine. And I'm taking mine because our God gave me that message. And that message comes to me first. Been there, done that, got a t-shirt for it. Domestic violence, drinking and partying and all that stuff. Picking the wrong man or allowing the wrong man to pick me, however you want to put it. My picking has always been bad. Just a bad picker. And it goes back to what Grace said. I came up in the church. I knew better, but I didn't know better. Why? Because the church just told me don't. Well, when you tell people don't, they're going to do it. So I heard on this platform today about different approaches of getting those messages across so that people will be able to receive them. But I tell you this too. It's all right that they didn't really break it down like it probably could have been broke down. And then me being in the last of 8 children, my mom, one mom, and, no father figure in the house, 5 brothers. I'm the last of 8. They didn't have time to hang out with me. They didn't have time for me because I wasn't in their generation. I wasn't in their league. So I fell in the generation that came up when I was coming, who partied, who went out to party, who drank, who had sex. Yeah, we did that too. Margaret, you can cut that part out. Anyway, we gonna have to cut this video. Because see, this ain't me talking right now, because this one part of my script. But when God said let it go, I'm gonna let it go. Because somebody somewhere may just need to hear it. And I say this, I'm proud to say this today because I am not who I used to be, because I was looking for love in all the wrong places. Getting caught up with the wrong people. Could have been ended up 6 feet under. Not to mention could have had life in prison. I hung out with the worst of the worst, but I wanted to be accepted. But I thank God that when I did realize and make that connection with God after just ignoring him for all those years, when I really realized that everything I was doing, that crap wasn't working. And then guess what? My mama had passed and gone on. I used to could call mama and say, Mama, Mama. And I tell her what happened. That's the only time I shared my business with her was when I got in trouble. When I got in trouble. But she was so loving and forgiving when I thought I was going to get a beating. I didn't get the beating. And she would, well, I wasn't living at the home either at that time. But what she would tell, when I used to call my mom and tell her stuff that I had gotten into and I was afraid of whatever the case was of the outcome, when my mother said to me, she said, baby, she said, mama's praying for you. Boy, when my mama would say that, because my mama was an evangelist in the church, my whole family's in the church and all that, you know, we just came up in the church. A lot of gifts, talents, and all that stuff. But when my mother said to me, when I would call her in times of trouble, when she said to me, baby, mama's praying for you. That's all I needed. And I knew that whatever I was going through, it was going to be all right. Well, let me tell you what happened, y'all. A day came. Mama wasn't there. I couldn't call mama no more. And that's when I realized, I got to make my own connection now. And I'm going in, y'all. Can I go in? Can I go in? I'm going in. When I made that connection with God, I mean really made that connection with him, I knew then he loved me just the way I am. She talked about it earlier today, Madge. We're marvelously, wonderfully, beautifully made. I'm enough. I'm enough. When I realize I'm enough, I'm like, I've been running behind all these people, allowing all this crap in my world trying to help make me whole, and whole was already inside of me. I ain't mad at y'all. I'm good. I'm good because I know that everything that I do, everything that I ask God for, he's my father, he's my husband, he's my brother, he's my mother, he's everything to me. I had to learn that, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, y'all. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I know Grace preached today. Yeah, Grace, that's the kind of stuff I used to hear, don't. But you know what? The Bible is right all day long. When we do these things that takes us out of God's will, we will pay the consequences. And I'm going to share this. I used to go out when I used to in high school stuff and go partying and all that, even after high school, whatever. And I still was so deeply rooted in church. Every Sunday we in church, Wednesday night, Bible study, whatever. And every Sunday came to a point in my life that I realized when I went out with my boyfriend, if you will, and we go out, I'm just going to say it like it is. I'm trying to fix it up. I'm just going to say it. When the night, on Saturday nights when I had sex, I go to church Sunday. Nobody knew I had sex but me. But one day I had to come to the realization because when the pastor get up and start talking and the missionaries are speaking, the word was beat me up. It was beat me up because I'm chosen. I wanted to beat me up. I'm thankful today that it did beat me up. And I realized I would always run to the altar and get prayer because of the conviction. The conviction. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be loved. Yeah, I wanted to be married, but it wasn't working that way. So I would fall into whatever I fell into, get up in church the next morning. God drew me to the office. I'm crying and snotting and carrying on. And God forgive me for me to go right back out there another time and do it again. And one day, I came to my senses. I said, you know what? I do the wrong. He do the wrong. But I'm the only one in church asking for God to forgive me. They couldn't ask for forgiveness. They couldn't be convicted like I was being convicted because they wasn't going to church. Hello? And one day, and I'm going to close on this. One day, God spoke to me. And he told me, because what I did was somebody said it. Jenny said it. I heard you. She said, you tell them everything. Well, stop telling them all your business. You're right, Janice. I used to do that. When you get through telling the man all of what the other previous one did to you, he gonna do it too. Oh, I had a wake-up call. I've had a lot of wake-up calls. Everything I say today, I just said, I'm just so grateful. I said with conviction because I'm free. I'm free. And that was the first message today. Free to love. Free to love who? Me, myself, and y'all. But my point is, one day God spoke to me, and that really, really just put the icing on the cake. Because the guys I dated, whenever I dated, and I've been married 3 times, tried 3 times, none of them didn't work because I married for the wrong reasons. Because, oh, well, if we going to have sex, we got to get married. What kind of mess is that? And they stupid enough they did it, but it wasn't built on no foundation. It wasn't so it didn't last. So my point is this. One day God spoke to me and he said, every time you allow a man to touch you, he's not laughing at you. He's laughing at me. Why? Because everything, it's always God. Y'all hear me? Everything God, everything God, everything God. Y'all, that's all I know. Because it works. But I was betraying him. I was using him. I was abusing him. And God had to let me know that's every time they touch you, they're not hurting you, they're hurting me. They're laughing at me because you talk about me. You lift me up and they're competing against me. Somebody talked about competition on the platform. Those men, they was competing, and I'm going in. Doc, you got to cut it out, cut this part out. Yeah, and when they get the goods, y'all know the rest of the story. They really start acting stupid. And I remember one time I heard somebody say, I read somewhere where it say you should wait at least 3 months. I heard somebody on the platform talk about waiting. And so back in the day, I tried that. I did that about 3 times. Told the guy, well, no, we're not having sex. We have to wait at least 3 months. Them guys told me I must have been out of my mind. But of course, having said that, I'm going in, y'all. You can cut this out too. They wasn't going to get none anyway because I ain't like the way they responded. How about that? How about that? You don't want to wait? You don't want to wait on me? So as life has gone in my years, all these years to come, I just had a birthday on February, I'm sorry, on the 5th, Saturday, and we had a book launch. But my point is, so I'm not afraid to tell my age. I'm 69 years old. Young, old, but I'm all that. I'm good. I ain't got no problem with the age because you know what? The Bible done told me, just be ready. So that's all. Just have my house in order and be ready. But my point is this. People don't want to wait on you. Then, so like I said, but that's the way of the world. And we have conditioned ourselves to believe that what the world has standards that they set up, but those standards are not God's standards, not for Dr. Patricia Rogers. My daughter told me some couple times, Mama, you need to get out. You need to start dating. I say, dating who, what? For me to date somebody, things don't go right, and then I got a bullet in my head. That's what's going on today. They don't even break up anymore. They don't even break up. They just kill each other, throw them in the woods or in a river somewhere. Who does that? But God is good to me. I didn't mean to say all of that. But you know what? I did know I had a little bit of time left on the clock. And you know what? When God says speak, I don't care what you say about me. I don't care what you think about me. Because one thing I do know, I got a whole lot of people that love me. And I just want you, don't look at the messenger. Take the word, and let it bless you. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And in my closing, 1 Corinthians 13:13 says, and now these 3 remain: faith, hope, love. But the greatest, and I'm full, y'all, because everything I've done in these 11 some years on this entrepreneurship, my entrepreneurship journey trip, my heart has been broken by women, people that you wanted to help, people that you thought loved you, but they was only there to watch you. They hate you, but they copy your stuff. I ain't mad at them, but I learned God is still working on me. He's always working on me. I said, I'm not going to fight with these people. If they don't want to stick and stay, bye. Have a good day. Because everybody can't go where God is taking me. But some people go along just for the ride, not knowing that God sees your heart. So when I brought that in about covetousness, y'all be mindful how you treat people. Because the same people you watching trying to mimic, you wondering why they got it so good. You wondering why because they love the Lord, number one, and they treat you right no matter how you treat them. That's my story. The greatest of these, ladies and gentlemen, is love. I'm Dr. Patricia Rogers, visibility strategist. And I am the CEO, because God said so, of Unity and Service. Where people, we can't do nothing without each other. Where people, Margaret, you put on a good show today. I feel the anointing of God, and for that, I'm grateful. And thank all of you. Again, where people need people. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much. The message is powerful, it's rich. I think the whole event, your theme, where you spoke, just wrapped it around, literally wrapped it around. Thank you so much. Truly blessed and having you in my life and speaking. The words you spoke is truly needed.